Okay, so hopefully this video will not take us very long. Like I said, what we're going to be doing is looking at um, uh, dropping rupees and stuff like that. So let me just go ahead and show you what we're doing real quick. Okay, and so when we get it, we add the coin or the rupee. Okay, so that's all we're doing today. In this lesson, but there's surprisingly a lot to it. So let's go ahead and get straight to it. So let's see here. The majority of stuff needs to come right here. All right, so this is where we no longer need a bounce on our enemy. Okay, and so what that means is the enemy has come to rest, and well, we can determine if he has 0 health. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to say, let me scroll up a little bit, is we want to just check to see if he has 0 health. So game objects at I dot health is equal to 0. We should probably do less than, just in case. And so if this is the case, what we want to do is we want to determine the chance of dropping objects. Now this is the fun, for me, this is the fun part of making RPGs, especially when there's like dynamic object creation. And that's, you know, I've done some MMO type programming where I basically was in charge of all the objects that were dropped by corpses, and so that was really fun. With Zelda, it's it's not as much fun because there are not random objects. Sure, it's random if you get like a rupee or a 5 rupee or a bomb, but you're not really like farming just for the sake of the drops. Okay, so I mean, rupees are great. You might have to farm for some rupees, but I just really enjoy games where there's like the random drop and like the excitement of where are the stats on the sword or whatever. But not in this one. So all we're going to do is we're going to look at a rupee chance. Okay, so we're going to say let rupee chance is equal to math.floor, and then math.random. Now, why can't I just do math.random and check to see the decimal number? I could. This just makes it easier for me in my head. And so here we're getting a number between 0 and 10, not inclusive of 10. So it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so what we want to do is we want to say if we want to always drop a rupee at the start because we want to be able to test it. So we're just going to say if rupee chance is less than 10. Okay, so if rupee chance is less than 10, we're going to create this this new rupee. So in the past, we have just been using GO over and over again, but we're starting to use GO so many times that properties are going to get set just in the flow of the code, and they're going to be reused by other properties that are using GO because it's just, you know, we're setting GO to everything. Okay, so we're going to create a new object just for the rupees. We're going to say let rupee object equal new game object. Oops. Okay, and we're just going to say rupee Okay, so we have an X, a Y, a width, a height is rupee, and so that gets us there. So we have a dot x is equal to our objects at x dot y, objects at I dot x, and we're just going to say +4. Okay, so that kind of centers it, that rupee, so it's not like right on the edge of the square. It's closer to the center. And then we're going to say dot y is equal to dot y. Oops. And so the next one is the width and height. Dot width. The width is going to be 8. Dot height 16. Dot is rupee. Hopefully. And then what we want to do is we want to get a rupee value. Okay, so it can be either a 1 or a 5. And so we're just going to say rupee value chance. And, now we have this number here. And we're going to say if rupee value chance is less than 2, then we're just going to say rupee object dot rupee value is equal to 5. Okay. Else we're just going to say the same thing here, but equal to 1. Okay. And then we're just going to push this. So we're just going to say game objects dot push, and we're going to push in our rupee object. Okay. And if this enemy has certainly died, then we want to get rid of him. Okay. And so what we're going to do here is we're just going to say game objects dot splice from I to 1 and be done with it. Okay. Okay, so now what we want to do is we have this rupee that has been added to game objects, and so we're drawing game objects, right? So we need to be able to draw rupees in game objects. And so here we have if it is an enemy, if it is a flame, and so forth and so on. So what we want to do is we want to create a game object that, if it is a rupee. Okay, so let's see here. So I guess we can just do it right here. If game objects at I dot is rupee, and so what we want to do is we want to draw, so the rupee that has a value of 1 actually flashes between 2 different colors of rupees, and the rupee that is a value of 5 stays a solid blue. So we'll deal with the first one first. So we're going to say if game objects at I dot rupee value is equal to 1, then we're going to start up our counter. So we're going to game objects at I dot counter plus plus, and then what we're going to do is every time that it reaches mod 5, we're going to update that that rupee graphic. So if game objects at I dot counter mod 5 is equal to 0, what we're going to do is we're just going to say Rupee Image. Okay, so we're going to update the Rupee Image, and I'm not sure if I have added that yet, so we're going to have to add it. So game objects at I.Rupee, it has not been added. So Rupee Image, this is just going to be a property within game objects. And then we're just going to say plus equals 1. All right. And then if game objects.Rupee image is greater than 1, we want to set it back to 0. And then here we have our if statements. So we want to say if game objects.Rupee image is equal to 0, we're going to draw that rupee. And so that's going to be drawn at ctx.drawImage. So draw image, and give me 1 second. Okay, and so what we want to continue to do is draw this Rupee image. And so you can check out the exact location and dimensions for yourself, but I already know that they're at 244, 225, and they have a width and height of 216. And where we want to draw them is game objects at I.X, game objects at I.Y, and with the same dimensions. Okay. And then so what we want to do is we want to say else here, and I'm just going to copy this. And so this is no longer going to be 244, it's going to be 274. Everything else stays the same. Okay. And then here, we just need to do an else statement here that says else. Now, so this is Rupee value 1. This is going to be Rupee value 2 or 5. 2. And then that does that. So let's just go ahead and see if we can get it to draw. Okay. Okay, so it did not destroy him. So here, it should have destroyed him as well. So did we take health from him when? So that's the issue. Okay, so here we're checking to see if its health is 0 or equal to 0, less than or equal to 0. And we may not have done anything to its health when we actually collided with our sword. So we need to look at game objects collision. I'm just going to go ahead and minimize that. And that's going to be up here. And that is right here. So here we do game objects dot health minus equals 1, minus equals 1, minus equals 1, and minus equals 1. Okay. So that does look good. Let's go ahead and see what its health is. Okay, so we want to see what this guy's health is, and so we're just going to go here. Oh, objects is not defined, so that's just an error. So 1155. less than 55. Oh, okay. So we're dealing with game objects, but I said objects. Okay, so silly mistake. Okay, and so now we got the rupee drawing, and what we want to do now is pick it up. All right, so let's see if this can get any easier. So all we want to do is we want to look to see if we can collide with that. So that's going to be in game objects collision. Let's see where that is. A game objects collision. And that is going to be right here. Okay, so we have if it is a portal, if it is pickup item, and so forth. And so what we want to do here is we want to just say if it is a rupee. So we're going to say if objects at I dot is rupee. And what do we want to do if it is a rupee? We're going to add to our rupee amount. We're going to say plus equals objects at I dot rupee value. And then we're going to get rid of that object. So objects at I dot objects dot splice. And we're going to say I to 1. And then we're going to play this sound. So we're going to say play sound. And our sound is just going to be the get rupee sound. So sounds and then LOZ underscore get rupee dot wave. Okay, and then we want to say continue here. Okay, so continue is just going to make it so that we get past these other things. Another way of going about this is just having if else if statements, and that actually may be better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and so this is our if statement, our first if statement. We're going to make this an else if statement, and we're going to make this an else if statement as well. Okay, so we don't get any errors, and so that'll take care of that. Okay, so let's go ahead and check that out. So that should have been a 5. That should have been a 5. Let's just double check. Go ahead and reset that. All right, let's just look at them. Game objects, and there are only 2. And it's got to be this one right here. So this is saying rupee image is not a number and rupee value is 1. Okay. Now why it's 1 I don't know, because it should be 5. But let's look at where we're drawing that. So let's look at draw game objects. If rupee value is equal to 1, well, we want to do this, else do this. So we need to figure out where we're setting this rupee value, and that's going to be right here. If rupee value chance, rupee object is equal to 5, else rupee object is equal to 1. So rupee value is rupee value is equal to 1, then we need to do this. Oh, this rupee value and potentially, maybe it's just the rupee value, but basically it's this image, rupee image, okay? So I think this is the issue. We never actually added, I never actually added it. I can just tell you that you are a part of this, okay? You should have been watching me, making sure that I was doing the right thing. Okay, so is this a 5? It is not. Okay, so we get no errors there. So we set this rupee image here, and so that takes care of that. Maybe we should probably see what this is again. Oh, wait, I need to do this. Okay, so it's saying that the value of this is 5 and the rupee image is, okay, so it is 5, but we're having problems with the rupee image, so let's just figure out what's going on there. So if rupee image is equal to 0, draw this one, else draw this one. If counter mod 5 is equal to 0, rupee image plus equals 1. If mod 0 plus equals 1, then what we want to do here is we want to what do we want to do here? So plus equals 1 is, oh, okay. It's getting too late. I need to start planning my time of doing these videos a little bit better. But you may have heard, I do have a little one. In fact, I have 3 little ones, and another on the way. So 4 little ones. And so the only time I really get to do these videos is after they've gone to bed, and sometimes not even then, because the baby will wake up at all hours. And so makes it hard, but you know, you take the time you can. So let's go ahead and see if this works now. Okay, fantastic. Took a whole lot longer than it should have, but you saw the process, and you know, sometimes, especially if you're new, seeing the process and trying to figure out the issue as you're going along, is useful. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed this. It wasn't too much of a time sink for you, because we're eventually getting there. It's starting to get exciting once we add pathfinding, and it's just going to start to, like, we're going uphill right now and getting all these little game mechanics ironed out, and then we're going to be just flying downhill. Especially once it's going to feel like that once we add all the game maps in. Okay, and so that's going to be it for this recording, and I will see you in the next one.